Welcome to Ruby Thursday. I'm Melissa Wanish. This is RubySnack number 34, Deploy to AWS EC2 Part 4, Set up AWS RDS, Relational Database Service. In this episode, you'll learn how to set up RDS on AWS, edit the database YML to use RDS, and then configure Capistrano to use RVM. Lots of acronyms in this episode. In this episode, I'm going to link to several other RubySnacks that will take you all the way through the deployment process. It's very similar to deploying to DigitalOcean, so I'm just going to reference those. If you want to code along, you'll need to have an Amazon account set up, and we did that in RubySnack 31. You'll need a key pair and security group, so we did that in RubySnack 32. And you'll need your EC2 instance launched. And that we did in RubySnack 33. In Amazon's documentation, they want you to be sure when you are about to launch an RDS that you have a couple of things set up ahead of time. You'll need an IAM user and a security group. If you haven't set those up yet, you can follow that link or refer to the other RubySnacks. For this episode, we're following this documentation to set up and launch the RDS. Here we are on the main panel for Amazon, and you see I'm logged in as the IAM user, and I've clicked on RDS to set it up, and it gives me a lovely screen to go ahead and launch the new relational database service. I'm going to choose Postgres. That's my flavor of database that I like. Now for our free plan, we have to choose the dev/test version. So I'll choose that and then click on Next Step. And here you can choose different versions of Postgres if you want to. I'm going to stick with what they recommend. And here you can create numerous sizes. I'm going to pick the smallest since this is a test version. You can always increase that later. And I'm also going to say no to the backups for now, but I do encourage you to put yes for a production server and a production instance. See, they have some writing to the side to help you out on what you should put together. Now I'm going to, magic of editing, fill it all in for you. Oh, I'm in the Ruby world and it does not like underscores. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace those with dashes and try again. All right, that took. Now is when we choose that security group. So I'm going to go ahead and choose one that I've already created. And then this time we can name the database name anything we want. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a Ruby-esque version of the name. And that's what will go in our database YML. And there's the port if you want to change it, but let's just leave it like that. And then it has specifications for your backups. And let's launch that instance. And of course, as it's being created, Amazon always points you to other pages that you can read, but let's go ahead and just check out the main dashboard for RDS. You can see alarms, recent events, monitoring. It's still creating it. Now it has an endpoint. It doesn't have any inbound permissions. That's because we haven't set up our security group to have one yet. So let's go ahead and change that. We can edit our security group. That opens it right up for us. We can go down and change our inbound permissions. We'll edit and add a rule for Postgres SQL. And go ahead and put that port in there. It's going to be anywhere and save. Now that it's refreshed, we're authorized. And be sure to copy paste that lovely long endpoint. That is our host name that we'll need to save as an environmental variable. Now it's time to edit our database YML. We're going to need a few extra things for using RDS. You'll of course need the database name, and that's what we put in. You're going to need the username and password you used when creating the RDS. And then you'll need to put in the host name that Amazon gave back to you that's on the dashboard for that RDS. And then you'll need to put in the port number. We left it as the standard 5432. Opening up your text editor, go ahead and navigate to Config and Database YML. And now we'll copy paste in the new configuration. That's all you need for RDS. Next up in this episode, I'm going to show you the extra things you need for RVM with Capistrano, because this time we used RVM and not Ruby from source. In order to follow along, you will need to go ahead and have Capistrano set up in your app. Here is a RubySnack that will help you do that. Just note that the server address will be something like this really long thing, especially when you're using the free plan. Here is a quick look at the EC2 dashboard. That's where I am, and here is where you can find that address. Next, don't forget about your environmental variables. I'm using Figaro to handle them, and here's a RubySnack that will show you how to integrate Figaro in your app. All right, time now to set up Capistrano for RVM. You'll need to add a new gem, the gem Capistrano-RVM. You'll need to bundle install that, and then you'll need to add the requirement to the cap file. Pretty simple. Back in our text editor in the gem file, let's add that new gem to our development and test group and bundle that up so that it installs the new gem. Next, we're going to add this RVM. It's actually already in the file. We'll just uncomment that so that it will include it when we try to deploy, and it'll set our Ruby version for us. To finish off deploying your EC2 server and configure your Apache so that when your DNS goes to that server, it'll serve up a beautiful Rails app, you need to follow these next RubySnacks. It's very similar to the process for deploying to DigitalOcean. You're going to run your Capistrano setup, troubleshoot, making sure you have all of the dependencies you need on your EC2 and all the permissions. Check out those RubySnacks to finish it off and deploy to EC2. Thanks so much for watching this RubySnack. If you are not already on my mailing list, head on over to rubythursday.com to sign on up. The mailing list gets some fun tidbits in their newsletter. If you are not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, click this big red button to head on over there. They get the videos just a little bit before everyone else. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks again for watching, and see you soon.